Note to the government shutdown. The Capitol Hill police who responded to today's car chase and deadly shooting are not being paid. They are considered, however, essential employees and must report to work without pay. Joining us to talk more about the shutdown from a conservative perspective from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania tonight is a political commentator and former congressional candidate, Lenny McAllister. Lenny, thanks for being with us here. And the conservative voice is one that hasn't been heard so much as we've talked about the government shutdown. So I'm really very interested in what you have to say about all this. And I want to begin with just the notion, is it worth it to fight Obamacare by using a government shutdown?
Well, I think the more relevant question is it worth it to fight it at this point in time and shut down the government? And I think that most Americans would likely say no. Now, was this worth it to fight in 2010 with the midterm elections? Was it worth it to fight in 2011 after the Republicans had huge victories in the 2010 midterms? The answer to that question is yes. But at this point in time, with so much hanging in the balance, with the debt ceiling crisis right around the corner, and us still struggling through an economy, there's a way that Republicans have to fight through this moving forward, where we're in a position where we're there to fix what's going to be broken in Obamacare versus shutting down the government and further breaking the Republican brand name like we're seeing right now.
All right. So right now, as things stand right now, is there a way out? Is there a type of concession that you think could work here on either side? Is there some way to move this forward?
I think that from the Republican side, what we need to do is make sure that as we're coming out of these negotiations, we're dealing with the debt ceiling crisis, we're dealing with Obamacare, and we're dealing with an actual budget moving forward so that we can alleviate these type of crises moments moving forward throughout the rest of 2013 and all the way through 2014. As well, I think it would be politically prudent for a group of Republicans to figure out, how do we resolve Obamacare glitches now? That's going to be the real concern. If Republicans can come and show how we bridge the gap over the things that we know are already broken in Obamacare, we can seem like the heroes that are coming in and smoothing things out. We have to make the monster of Obamacare into an efficient machine, and that's something that Republicans have not been focusing on right now.
Do you have a warning, though, to Republicans that if this is not resolved quickly, that there will be tarnish? Because I'm not clear that there is true evidence that in previous shutdowns, the long-term effects actually hurt the party that's considered to blame for it.
I think that going back to the 1990s probably isn't the best historical example. I think all we have to do is go back to 2012. The Tea Party and the Republicans were blamed for the credit rating going down because those negotiations in the fall of 2011 went awry. By the time you got to 2012, the Republicans suffered losses in an era where the unemployment rate was still high and you had an unpopular president, but it just so happened that he was running against a more unpopular brand in the Republican Party. If you look at the losses in 2010 and 2012 in the U.S. Senate, you see that Republicans lost electoral opportunities. So rather than going back to the 1990s in that shutdown, all we have to do is go back to last year and realize that if we don't get ourselves together as Republicans and come to the table as leaders, if we're still seen as politicians, our brand is not good enough for us to be able to move forward and be successful in 2014.
Quick thought, though, here. There's plenty of evidence that if Speaker Boehner were to call a vote on a clean CR, this could be resolved, that the votes are there for a clean CR.
Well, the votes are there, but I think at this point in time, we need to try to knock out all three things simultaneously. Even if you can't get any type of delay with Obamacare, the next step that we have to take is make sure that we're going through this so that there's no more issues with the debt ceiling, so that we're not risking another credit rating going down, and further, we can move forward with an actual budget rather than dealing with these CRs that only go for 60 to 90 days at a time.
All right. Lenny McAllister up in Pittsburgh, thanks very much for being with us.